I just wanted to talk about the biggest failures I see as a real estate broker and as somebody who's relocated myself with relocation and making those dreams come to fruition and happen. So, number one problem I see is the inability to understand how to simultaneously either uproot, cancel your rental agreement and move, or sell their house and buy another, right? You never want to show up to a new city and not really have any housing figured out. That is a recipe for disaster. And so a lot of times when clients come to me, they bought or sold or purchased a house with a real estate agent maybe 10 or 15 years ago in their current market, and now they're trying to buy or rent in a new market, which they're unfamiliar with. And so that failure happens when they don't understand on how to build a simultaneous sell and buy plan. That relocation plan has to really be based upon what that timeline is, what their budget is, how they're financially or from a lender standpoint, they're simultaneously going to basically double close, or within a couple of weeks, if not maybe 4 to 6 weeks, being able to sell and buy and using maybe short-term rentals or hotel or corporate housing to make all that happen. And so I wanted to talk about this because the hardest thing is understanding not writing tons of offers in the new market that are contingent upon the sale in your current market. So if this makes sense, in a hot market, it's very hard in your new relocation city to purchase a home without paying cash if you haven't sold your current home that you live in. Now, if you're renting, this is a completely different scenario because if you're renting and then you're going to buy, we don't have to worry about that logistical maneuvering. So I just wanted to say that having a great agent that can either refer you a new agent in your current market to sell your house, or having them work with you to build that relocation timeline and being able to understand that we probably want to get the house that you currently live in with an accepted offer, through inspections and repair addendums, and through appraisal. And that window after appraisal can be anywhere 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, but also being able to understand as the selling agent in that market, how to best position the contingency and the logistics of your offer or acceptance so that you can best plan for your purchase and acquisition in the new market. That takes a lot of different logistical and problem-solving, timeline, financial, lending, dynamics. I just wanted to say that it's not easy. And somebody who's done it twice can walk you through that process and be able to show you what questions or concerns you should be familiar with, but also understanding on logistically and psychologically, how are you going to make both work? Now, second failure that I see in all of this is not understanding how to work through your new job start date from where you currently are. Now, what this means is, how do you get to the new location if you're not finished with the logistics part of your relocation plan? And I've been helping a lot of different clients work through this. Sometimes it's best to secure a storage unit in the new location and get everything moved from point A to point B. Also securing maybe short-term housing like we discussed, or an Airbnb in the period of which waiting for this property to sell or get into contract. Because sometimes you can't wait on the real estate. You have to be, true to your start date of your new career and job in this new area. So there is some failure that happens in all of that because a lot of people are like, well, I'm starting this new job. I'm stressed out about this. This is a big new adventure to a new area. I'm just not going to buy yet. But then they end up spending thousands of dollars rental expense that could be used as income or equity position in the new purchase of a house. So yes, I can understand that there's many different factors and all that, and sometimes people are just not ready to buy in the new market until they're familiar with the area and where they want to live. Totally all right. I did that the same way. I rented for a year. But understanding on how to do that and understanding how that job is the number one priority and the logistics to follow to meet that start date is huge. Third thing I wanted to say is the biggest failure that I see is psychologically not being ready. It is stressful. There's a lot of obstacles that come up. Financially, budgeting, planning. problems, utilities, DMV, right? I've talked about this before. But psychologically, you got to understand that going from one state to another state is never easy. It doesn't matter how even-tempered you are or how much planning you've done. There's going to be things that come up. And I just wanted to let everybody know, as a real estate agent, sometimes you got to play the part of guidance counselor, right? And understanding that these are the concerns that you're going to probably have. Proactively, these are the things that we can do to minimize risk or minimize frustration or stress or anxiety, and ultimately be able to go from point A to point B by drawing out a big plan on how we're going to get this done and what dates are we going to hit and where is our end goal. And both from a real estate perspective, from a job, relocation, transplant mentality. So all of this, you put all this stuff together and it's like a blender, guys. You push it on, there's a bunch of stuff going on, and you want to be able to pour it out and have a good smoothie at the end. And what I see is psychologically, it can be taxing. So be prepared. Make sure that you have a real estate agent. Make sure you have maybe a mentor or a connection in the new city to really help answer the questions and be able to walk you through the process, especially if it's been somebody who's done it themselves. And that's why a lot of my clients come to me, because they know, they've seen the videos, they understand that process, that I've been through it, right? There's no other better person to help you along the way as somebody who's actually done it themselves. That experience goes a long way. The last biggest failure that I see in relocation is understanding that you're moving to a new area that's going to have its entire new complexities and understandings and culture and political views and pace of life. And this is not a psychological or a logistical concern or failure, but it's having an open mind, right? There's a difference between trying to address psychological or anxiety or stress that are going to be related to the logistics of moving from point A to point B. But once you get there, right, it's having an open mind, understanding you're living somewhere new. There's different grocery chains, right? There's different ways of parking or driving. And understanding to get through that is usually 6 months to a year before you really start to get into the pace of life in the new location, right? Imagine living in New York City or rural Arkansas and then moving to Oahu, guys. Quite different when you order a pizza, right? Quite different when you're driving from point A to point B. Quite different when you go to vote. It's about how you immerse yourself in those cultures and those new areas and absorb what you want to absorb, be able to deflect if you need to, certain aspects, or just looking at things from a very open mind perspective is going to make this way more effective. I know a lot of people that have moved to a lot of places, and that last biggest failure they didn't keep in mind, right? They moved there like, I hate everybody here. I hate the way they dress. I hate the way they drive. I don't like the food here. And it's negative, 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 negative. And that is a recipe for disaster, right? And if they would have just taken my advice and been able to work through it, understand that things take time to adjust, that is ultimately what we're trying to do, and helping people from a real estate perspective and guiding people from a relocation game plan and ultimate execution. And ultimately, our goal is to help anyone out there in the United States. If you have any questions about relocation or relocation in real estate, please reach out to us. Hit our contact information below, schedule a Calendly meeting. I'd love to be able to collaborate and be able to push you in the right direction and ultimately give you the blueprint to relocation and how we got this done over and over and over from multiple clients this year. Have a great day.